Horse racing fans, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. I'm certainly pumped for day 2 at Newmarket. We saw some pretty good performances yesterday. I thought Mighty Ulysses was mightily impressive in the listed contest. A shame he couldn't get it done when I tipped him up. Taydock off a mark of 101. He somehow got beat that day. He's been beaten a length in a Group 1 since, and then got off the mark in listed company. He's a horse going the right way. But first, a little bit of housekeeping over at York. We've got a couple of, not selections, but horses that I just thought I would point out in the 3:15 in the Fillies Novice Stakes. It's a pretty good race, and there's one worth noting here. Heathcliff's Girl, who trained by Carl Burke, ridden by Danny Tudor. I saw her at Beverley a couple of weeks ago, and she is the best looking horse I've ever seen. She completely blew me away in the paddock, and if looks translated to talent, she'd be absolutely hosing up at Beverley and probably here. She's definitely going to win the best turned out, I'll say that in advance now, if she's looking as good as she did the other day. But excuse me, she had a little bit of trouble, didn't have the clearest runs of all time at Beverley, but the money was down. It's been down on both starts, to be honest. She was clipped from 10s into 7s at Catterick on her debut, wasn't given the toughest time, but probably underperformed and was a little bit short of room in the final furlong at Beverley the other day as well. Look, that form doesn't translate to much when you look at Yarsat, who's rated 93, the Platinum Queen, that's rated 85. She's got a long way to improve to get to them, but if looks translate to performance, which sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, then she'd be definitely one to know. Also in the same way as Thunderstar, Jessica Macy, that was her first ever juvenile winner, if I'm correct in saying, when winning at Haydock on soft ground at 18-1. Lewis Edmonds, my jockey to follow in the plate. So was it a real surprise at the end of the day? Who knows? It's completely different ground, good to firm today, but you'd just love to see this horse run well for connections. I'll certainly be cheering Thunderstar and Heathcliff's Girl home. Over to Newmarket, we've just got a couple of selections. It's not too much of an attractive betting day, or maybe it is. I'm just not really fancying anything, maybe saving my powder dry for the big action tomorrow, which there will be plenty more tips coming your way. But first off, in the 1:15, you've just got a feeling that John Gosden is starting to pick up. He's had not exactly been out of form, but I just think he's going to be sending out a pretty nice newcomer here, the son of Kingman in the 1:15. Epicitetus, I'm going to go with the name. Martin Harley takes the ride. There's a lot of promising newcomers here, but I just think at 12-1 this one might be something above the curve. Look, I'm not basing it on a whole lot, to be totally honest. You'll want to see the horse in the paddock before, but at 12-1 I'm just going to take a chance. It might be throwing a dart at the board, and I'm probably going to miss, to be totally honest, but I think this horse could be running a pretty nice race, and definitely one for the future. Might need a little bit further though, but starts off over 7 furlongs today. Next up in the 150, it's a pretty competitive handicap. New London off a mark of 99. He's going to have to prove that he's a 99 rated horse at the end of the day. He was a flop at Chester. You could blame the track, blame the ground. I'm not too sure, to be perfectly honest. Look, he's had 2 wins out of 2 at Newmarket. Beat Aldous Huxley, who was withdrawn at Royal Ascot. I think he's rated about 90. Had Benoit de la Salle on board that day, if I'm correct. So we don't know the form of that. But look, he's 2 from 2. Charlie Appleby always seems to mop up winners at Newmarket. He's one to keep an eye on, and probably is the most likely winner. But an each way to nothing bet in Ionafis, William Haggis, Tom Marquander combination doing pretty nicely. Now this horse was 3 from 3 unbeaten, just the one comeback run this year at Wolverhampton, when he won at Wolverhampton with Stevie Donoghue on board. That was off a mark of 88. Then he was lobbed up £4 for that, which might have been a little bit generous, and he was 8th out of 30 in the Britannia. That was on his turf debut, and that was a pretty good run on good to firm ground. He probably didn't have the toe at the end of the day, steps up in trip. I think that's the angle with this horse. Definitely interesting off a mark of 92, and if you put it each way, it's each way to nothing if he finishes in the first four places up for grabs with all bookmakers with the 12 runners. So he's one worth noting. Also, on a general point, Frankie Dettori's got a couple of rides today for Mark Johnson. You'd love to see him get a winner on the board, and I'm hoping it's in the 225 on board Lazoo, who looked pretty special on her debut at Bath. How she got up from where she came from, she learnt the job pretty well. She didn't know what she was doing for the first 2.5 furlongs. She definitely knew what she was doing in the last 2.5. Loved the uphill finish at Bath. Stepped up in trip, was sent off. Not favourite actually, it was Minnetonka who was set up favourite. That was shown to be a flash in the pan. Lazoo was held up, given a very nice ride by Frankie Dettori. That was after the news of the sabbatical, but won very well that day. This is probably a stronger race in fairness, but I think she's a filly on the upgrade, is one to keep an eye on, and at 7-4 Lazoo is my nap of the day. There's quite a few in behind which had good runs at Royal Ascot. If you think of Melancy, I'm going to go with, was a length and a half between Dramatise. I think Dramatise won with a lot in hand, but I think Dramatise is probably the best 2-year-old filly, so that form is very strong. She's got a better rating than Lazoo as well, but I'm just hoping Lazoo only rated 97 at the minute. Not that it really matters because it's a group race, are all running off levels, but it's definitely a top class race. I think Lazoo could be something special, and hopefully we'll be seeing a couple of Frankie Dettori flying dismounts today. The big race in the 335, the Falmouth Stakes in Spiral 1-6. You just hope she can go and get the job done and do it well at the end of the day. John Gosden and Frankie Dettori have already had a winner yesterday, as stated, so hopefully they can keep up the good partnership. She doesn't have a lot to beat, to be totally honest. Prosperous Voyage is the horse which is the biggest price in the market, considering she's already followed in Spiral home a few times. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that the same could happen again, maybe in Spiral first, Prosperous Voyage, I should say, in second. So it's a very good days of action. Just a couple of tips and the ones to keep an eye on at Doncaster. Maybe have a few pennies if you are one that does like the paddock picks. But that's Joe McCabe over and out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do like and subscribe, and stay tuned for a new video and some big action coming tomorrow.